Southwest Florida. Welcome back to Leaf Is Live. Where are we now? We are at one of my favorite churches in all the land, at Mount Hermon Ministries. If you're talking about taking the lead on things and making it happen, we got two ministers in here who have a vision and always proactive in the community. Get a chance to talk to the Reverend Dr. Rickey Anderson and the Reverend Dr. William Glover here at Mount Hermon Ministries as we set out to sail during COVID-19 and educating the community. Gentlemen, welcome to Leap Is Live.
Thank you once again, Lee.
Hey, Pastor Anderson, let me get you to hold that up just a little higher throughout this process. Like you in that pulpit. I see you on Sunday morning. Yeah, I got to be switching back from serving to serving. By the way, on Sunday mornings, both of you, I catch you guys on Sunday mornings, and you guys are really coming to the 21st century and taking advantage of something that we're going to be covering this evening in terms of not having a congregation there, but still ministering to the public. Let's go and plug that right now. People can catch you at what times and whereabouts on Sunday morning on social media?
Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, Facebook Live.
Okay. And you, Pastor Glover?
Sunday mornings at 11 a.m., Facebook Live and YouTube Live.
Okay. Now, that brings us to right here, right now, in terms of this symposium that's going on, the Virtual Clergy Symposium. This is really interesting. I don't think I've seen one anywhere on the internet or anything. Let's talk in general. Let's start off with you, Pastor Glover. You're hosting it here at Mount Hermon Ministry. Let's set the scene for what's going to be taking place later on this evening right here at Mount Hermon Ministries.
Okay. Well, this symposium was born out of the statistical facts that this coronavirus, like many other diseases, are disproportionately impacting the African-American community in terms of infection rate and also death rate. We are leading the country demographically by ethnicity. And given that the African-American church is still the most viable institution in the church, and we gather people because it's what the church does, is we assemble for worship and the work of the Lord, it made sense to me to gather some clergy and have this conversation about the virus's impact on our community and the role of the church and clergy in addressing and responding to that.
And one of your trustee partners in a lot of things in the community is right here, the Reverend Dr. Rickey Anderson. When you were first approached about this concept, tell me about your response and what you thought about the concept that we're going to be doing this evening.
Well, my concept was, I was real excited. Matter of fact, I texted Dr. Glover today, preparing for tonight, and I texted, I am excited because when you can bring some clergy together to work together, because that's what it's about. It's about togetherness, and it's not about individuality. And so when Dr. Glover reached out to me and some other clergy, I was really excited about it. I'm looking forward to it.
Let's make sure we name your church along the way.
Followers of Christ Fellowship Ministries, 2809 Grand Avenue.
And when we come out of the virtual world, people will be able to come to the real world at the same time at 11 o'clock?
Yes, sir. Same time.
Same here as well?
Yes.
Okay. I would think that we're going to get that after experiencing the virtual world, and based on our ages and everything, where we are right here on this technology, it forced us to keep up with the modern times. When you first heard about it, stay with you for a minute, Dr. Anderson. When you first heard about the pandemic, churches are going to be closed and social distancing and all that, did it hit you as a big shocker, like how I'm going to manage my way through this? Or did you immediately start saying, let's get to work?
No, it did, because I've had a Facebook page forever.
Right.
But did not use it until COVID-19 came into being. And same with YouTube. I have a YouTube channel and never used it.
And now you getting comfortable over there? Because I think I see you sometimes now on Facebook, liking something or sharing something. And I used to tag you on things, but you never said anything because I said he's not using it.
Because I didn't know what you were doing.
Melanie told me you weren't using it too. Go ahead.
I didn't know what you were doing. So.
Now you know what's going on?
I do.
It's a whole other world.
It is.
Now, Dr. Glover, you've been over there for a minute now, but you have expanded your ability to utilize that opportunity. I think you shared with me. It's very important that people still come to church and be in the. I think it's something you quoted me out of the Bible about.
Forsake not the assembling of yourselves together.
Right. break that down. What does that really mean?
Well, the church, the Greek word ecclesia, it means to assemble. Mm-hmm. And the church is the body of Christ. And one of the way you build a faith community is to gather for worship, for word, and to learn how to be trained in doing the work of the ministry. Churches are communities of faith. So assembling and gathering is vital to the life of the church. To the question you put to Dr. Anderson, the idea that you are the church and it's mandated that you cannot assemble for health reasons, yes, that was shocking. And it pushed all of us to rethink, re-envision how we could continue to be the church without actually literally assembling in the facility. Right. And there are lessons, I learned certainly. I was getting more active on my personal Facebook. We had a ministry Facebook, but it wasn't very active. And so this really pushed us into investing in our ability to take our ministry virtual in a qualitative way. And that just opened my eyes till, at capacity, if I have a capacity Sunday, I'm at 300. But I go home by Sunday evening, I've had 5,000 views of our worship service. And even as a result of that, we've picked up, virtual members who join us now.
From anywhere in the world, probably.
Yeah. And they're doing it weekly. And also people have started giving who are not a part of our giving pool. So it's just really opened our eyes in terms of the potential, and that even when we reassemble, we cannot rescind from our efforts to reach beyond the walls virtually.
That's right.
Go ahead and expound on that. Well, can I just give you another question?
Okay.
In general, African-American community, myself included, we a lot of times lag behind in terms of technology and innovation in all aspects. Now, essentially, you caught up in terms of technology and innovation. I'm assuming that you're echoing some of the things that Pastor Glover just said in terms of reaching a larger ministry.
Absolutely.
Is it fair to say it was a blessing in disguise?
It was a blessing in disguise. And one of the things that really excites me is the fact, like today is 5:45, our team meets and basically putting them in breakout rooms, having their own particular teacher, because we do prayer meeting, Bible study, Sunday school on Zoom. And we have more participation in Zoom than we had when we were actually going to church.
Saying stuff like Zoom.
Yes. And
see, you're saying Zoom now, right?
Right.
But Ricky and your daughter and everybody else have been telling you about this kind of tech. Now you on to it.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, that sounds really cool. Go ahead, Zoom.
Well, he just said something very important there, because one of the challenging things about ministry and one of the very frustrating things about ministry is that family life has changed.
Oh, yes.
And the church as an institution is slow to change. And so we have met frustration by not adapting to the pace of people's schedule. And it simply is not convenient for folk to come out to the church house 2-3 nights a week for church activities. And what we have discovered, and we've already agreed, that even when we begin to assemble again, all of our board meetings, our ministry maintenance meetings, we will continue to do those things on Zoom.
Really? Right.
Because you still get a lot more accomplished. Drive time, you save money and the convenience of it. So there are lessons learned, and there are many things we will continue to do as a result. So there was blessing in this.
The pandemic now, back to you, how did your congregation appreciate you appreciating their safety?
They appreciate it a lot. Matter of fact, thank you, Pastor, for all this you're doing to keep us engaged, thinking about our safety, our health. They really appreciate it. Matter of fact, we're getting ready to do a drive-in. My piece of equipment came today. So we'll do our first drive-in, and they're looking forward to that because I asked them, oh, yes, Pastor, we want to do that. We want to do that. So I'll be doing the drive-in soon.
Explain the drive-in to people who may not know what it is.
The drive-in is where they come in and I have a FM transmitter, and they turn the dial on in their car to that particular.
Like at the drive-in theater.
Right. And then they hear me through their radio.
And they just sit in the car.
Yes.
Now, you're going to be standing on that porch right there?
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be cool. Do you have a date for that we can plug right now?
We're going to do it. I think it'll be 2 weeks from now.
Okay. Just have somebody hit me up when you get a date so we can continue to promote that.
Okay.
Pastor Glover, piggyback on what he was saying is how your congregation responded to you, because we know some people just couldn't stay away from that. You guys held your horses and said, we're going to do this a safe way. Was it appreciated in all aspects?
Well, it was. People appreciate the fact that you're being cautious and that you're putting their safety first. We've gotten absolutely no pushback from any demographic in my congregation. But you have to consider different things for different demographics. For instance, much of my 60 plus, if they have people in their houses who are using the technology, then they've been able to tap in. But if they live alone or they live with other elderly who that gap is too much to bridge, they're missing us on Sunday mornings. So what I had to do for that demographic is I have a midweek noon study and prayer, and we just use the old-fashioned conference call lines.
Okay.
So midday Wednesday, I'll have from 20 to 30 people on a conference call, and I'll have a study with them, and we will have prayer. We'll pray for each other, check on each other, see how each other's doing. So I found that we've had to do different things for different demographics to get through this until we get together. And when we do open,
what a joyous Sunday that will be.
Well, yes,
it's going to be.
Unless it'll probably be a while for you. Anybody can go back to full capacity. So you will have to open partial capacity, but that demographic will be the first demographic to come back here.
I see.
Because they just have not been able to get the Sunday worship services. They've been getting it midweek. Now,
with I got to work this in too while we're sitting here. The social unrest in society, George Floyd. I haven't talked about George Floyd. It's my first time doing TV since George Floyd. George Floyd, the social unrest around the country. Do you find that even more now people want to listen in and see how the pastors are talking about how we are approaching this revolution type situation here in America?
Right. They're listening because, pastors, we do have a voice, and we are mandated in Scripture to do justice. So Dr. Glover and I both are part of a group of about 13 churches, and that's all we do. Is that we fight for justice. And in a case with George Floyd, that's what needs to happen. And not only him, but those others that was murdered senselessly, their family needs justice.
How do you feel right now about where the country is going? We saw that diversity. We're still seeing all that diversity in the protests. We're seeing all these various people stepping up, the slogan, Black Lives Matter. How are you feeling? You feel that there's a real change that's going to come up in society now going forward?
Yeah, the younger generation, I think when you see them rise up and say enough is enough, and you see more Caucasian marching with African American and other races, whereas in the past you didn't see that. So it's not like a race thing. It's something that has been done wrong, and you have Caucasian and other races who know that wrong has been done and they want justice. And so there will be a change.
Go ahead. Can you, biblically speaking, we saw that George Floyd was not a fancy man, no great accolades, not popular or anything. Simple, for all practical purposes, a simple person. Everybody witnessed his death, and it just touched people's heart. How can we tie that to biblical change?
Very easily. The Bible talks about the oppressed. Ecclesiastes 4:1, Solomon says, I looked again around the world at all the injustices. And I heard the cries of the oppressed, but no one helped them. And then he said something very profound. He said, no one helped them because power was on the side of the oppressor. And what has happened in the case with George Floyd is you have someone who was the least of these, murdered in the most cold, callous, calculating way possible for all the world to see. And that sparked something in the decency in people to realize this is wrong. And is this what African American communities deal with as far as policing and dealing with systemic racism? That one situation remove the scales from the eyes of millions, not only in this country, but around the world. And that started this catalyst, which I think has the potential to create change. I've been using this term. Now is when we have to begin to give thought to what do we do when the emotion of the moment has ended.
Yeah.
And by that I mean the conversation and dialogue that's already started has to be driven, and that's about reform in the institutions and the rules and the laws and sometimes leadership. And that's the dialogue that needs to be driven.
All these things coming together simultaneously is so interesting, Pastor Anderson, with the pandemic, with that happening, unemployment, just a whole lot of stress points hit at one time, and the people just pretty much said enough is enough, huh?
Oh yeah. Absolutely, because this has been going on for years and, kind of overlooked, brushed under the rug. And we've been oppressed for years. And, when a person get sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when they will do something. And I think that with the murder of George Floyd, we see some sick and tired folk who say enough is enough.
Go back to, I'm going to get the name wrong, but you'll get it right for me. It's this group that you all are a part of, the ministers, something you mentioned earlier.
Lee Interfaith for Empowerment.
All right, let's stay with that for a minute. Now, Lee Interfaith for Empowerment has probably a majority of the people on that group are white people.
Absolutely.
All right, now, but they are benefiting now. That organization strongly benefits now from diversity because society, not that they weren't benefiting in the past, but they are lucky now that we have African Americans and other minorities on that group can speak to this big situation here in America that's going on right now, because I'm sure the churches are talking about that. Have you guys had a Zoom on that or anything on that yet?
Well, I'll let Dr. Glover speak to it because we got something coming up Saturday.
All right, go ahead.
Well, a couple things in terms of the organization itself. 13 congregations in Lee County who have covenanted together to work on systemic justice issues. And what I have been doing is I've been on different platforms speaking about this issue and systemic justice in particular. I've been making people aware of the Interfaith for Empowerment and the fact that we are a congregation-based organization, that we rally around the biblical value of justice, and that if you want to do something tangible to make a difference in systems, laws, rules, policies, this is the organization to be a part. And since that time, I've successfully been able to recruit 3 additional congregations to our organization. So we put forth life as a vehicle for congregations who want to do something beyond the emotion of the moment. So that's the first thing. And then the event that the Interfaith for Empowerment is putting forth Saturday, is a Lift the Knee vigil against racism. And we're expecting anywhere from 300 to 500 people to show up at Centennial Park. And we're having a vigil to stand in unity, to pray for healing, but also voice our opposition to continued systemic racism.
Right. For those who just joined us, we're sitting here in Mount Hermon Ministries. Again, this is before the virtual clergy symposium that's going to take place dealing with the pandemic. Pastor Anderson, the fact that the church is such an integral part of society, it has become even more important now in these days and time, would you say?
Absolutely, because I look at the fact that even though, I've kind of shared with some of the things that we're doing as a pastor, you still have those who they are so oppressed, depressed, until they don't even want to be engaged with what you're offering them to kind of bring some sense of comfort to the hurt. So what they do, they basically stay away, because I've tried to touch every group in the church, seniors, young adults, singles, married couples and all, because every one of us have been affected by it. And the church is the place that they need to rally around to hear what's being said, hear what's being taught, so that they can deal with this COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, you're a chaplain for, if I'm not mistaken, the Fort Myers Police
Yes, sir.
Department. That takes us right into my next question. And I see the crew is filing in. The police departments around the world have been focused on all of. I mean, they are popular, and you being a chaplain, are they kind of confiding in you, asking you things?
No, sir. No, sir. And basically, that's if I was to get a call, yes, but. For the most part, there have been officers out, during some of the protests and, when they were protesting, doing the knee and what have you. But I have not been actually called to be involved with law enforcement at this point.
Kind of give us our star lineup, if you can remember off the top of your head before we end this one. I'll talk to some more ministers and some medical people later. Give us an idea of who's going to be a part of the panel in tonight's virtual clergy symposium.
Okay, gladly. We have some of the leading clergy in our community, Dr. Anderson, of course, myself, Dr. Leon Williams, First St. John, Dr. Phil Phillips, Agape Christian Ministries, Dr. Alan Stockton, New Image Tabernacle, Pastor Greg Ford, First Assembly Cornerstone, the clergy on this panel, and we have a very highly decorated, qualified nursing panel consisting of Diane Spears, who is a director of nursing at Lee Memorial Hospital, Nadine Singh, who is a registered advanced nurse practitioner, in addition to the premier mobile bus clinic, and Sister Small, who is a Master's of Social Work and also a registered advanced practical nurse.
How can people expect this process to go this evening?
I'm just
Format.
over a variety of questions, and you've seen extensive, question list. Tonight is about educating. I have been saying the virus of racism has pushed the coronavirus off the pages of the front news.
Oh yeah.
But the pandemic is still in the land.
That's right.
And this is a reminder of our people, and by our people, I'm referring to people of color who are being disproportionately impacted by this in terms of infections and death. That we have to stay the course in terms of doing the things we need to do to keep ourselves safe. And this is to provide good educational information, both from a faith perspective and also from a medical perspective, so that people leave feeling informed and not, moving by conspiracy theory and misinformation.
But we're going to be online with this. I'll be moderating, Pastor Anderson. What do you hope that after we come off social media this evening that people will have taken away from this very important dialogue?
They will know that pastors care, because to preach to a congregation is one thing, but to be concerned about the whole man, not just the spirit. Got to be concerned about the spirit, soul, and body.
Yes.
And so this is a body issue.
Yes.
So we want them to be able to say those pastors cared enough to share with us, to help educate us, so that we can be safe.
And those people who may not have caught this and see this interview later on and still want to go back and see this symposium, tell them where they can go on social media to look at it, Pastor Glover.
We will leave it up at Minority Ministries Facebook Live, and also Minority Ministries YouTube Live.
Okay, and you
as
also...
well as the Minority Ministries webpage, www.mounthermonministries.org.
Okay, and I'll tell people I'm going to have it on Lee Pitts Live Facebook page, and you can also see this interview everywhere on TV and everywhere. And I'm assuming that we're going to share this with all the other congregations, and they can post it on their pages.
Yeah, my ladies, they'll share it. Melody and yeah.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I know we got to get to some work, but thanks for coming out, and certainly thanks for being visionaries and the whole crew and putting together something like this that we're going to do tonight. This is going to be groundbreaking.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.
Hello, Southwest Florida. Thanks for watching Lee Pitts Live. Of course, I'm Lee Pitts. I hope you enjoy that particular show, but you can always catch us here on YouTube. Just click on the subscribe button down there. That way you can get your Lee Pitts Live on demand when you want it and how you want it. We also encourage you to watch our show on Fox 4 and connect with us on all all our social media platforms. Just type in Lee Pitts Live.